Hi everybody and welcome to my Unruly Housewife channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these miniature cookies to go in your miniature project or possibly a doll's house. I've made these to sit on this plate and I'm not worried about the underside. They're glued together. You can use Aleene's glue, that's what I've used there, or you can use Crafter's Pick, which is actually what I prefer. I was testing out the Aleene's. So yeah, that's what they look like. They're very cute. I've made lots and lots of spares. This is a project where you can make as many spares as you want. You can then, when you come to pile them up, the uglier ones can go underneath if you need to. And don't forget to put a little bit of chocolate where they've bitten. I haven't put chocolate underneath. I'm not going to look at the underneath, and I don't know what would happen actually if you baked the acrylic paint. But anyway, that's what we're doing today. We're just making these ones. If you want to flip them over and do the underside, knock yourself out, I think that's a perfectly good idea. All of this is about experimenting. The next thing you need to do is to make some either a mixture of scrap or to get some like beige coloured clay. Just try and make a mixture of a colour that you think would be a good base for your biscuits or your cookies. And then you want to make that into little balls like this, and just see, like my doll's house is 1/12 scale, so it means that anything that's a foot big in real life is an inch big in the doll's house. Presumably that's why they picked 1/12. And what I like to do is to get one of my little people from my house and just try, does that look a reasonable size in their hand? I could measure a cookie or I could just do this. I think that looks a reasonable size. And now that you know what size, I've rolled it back into a ball. You can roll it back into a ball and copy it over and over. That ball gives you a guide of how big you want your cookies to be. And once you've done that, you need some aluminium foil. So here it is. It's aluminum, aluminium, whatever you want to call it. And what I've done with it is I've made the texture as kind of as small as possible. I've really scrunched it up. And then what I often do with this circumstance is I kind of form it just gently so as not to mess up all the dents around the end of something. This is a paintbrush. Just to give it a little bit of a concave nature. And then I wonder if I can line that up with one of these. Let's get them out of the way. Put that down and bam, give it a press, and there you've got your cookie. And you might want to I'm just focusing on that. In fact, no, I'll bring it to you. As you can see, you've got a bit of a cookie texture going on. Some of it's not so great, so you can always go in and adapt it with your foil. This is all about experimenting. It's all about you using your artistic license. It's no one's checking up on you. No one else knows what you're doing. You just play around with everything in this particular project. Colours, shapes, how you present it. Keep dropping it if you like. That's what I do. So there's my cookie, and I think it's looking pretty realistic now. And I will do that with all of them. And they'll all be slightly different, I guess. There's that little dip there, so I'm not really paying too much attention to the dip, am I, to be fair? And if you look, it looks like it's going to be a bit wonky. Just straighten it out. And there's another one. And again, probably wants a bit of adapting. I've used my foil. I've already made this video once and rejected it, so my poor foil's getting a bit flat now. Okay, so there's that one. That looks fine to me. And I would do all my cookies like that. Once I stop fiddling around with my cookies, I'm going to add some colour to them, and for that I will use these Inscribe pastels. Let me just lean the camera back a bit. There's some there, soft pastels they're called. So I don't think that's the make I'm using, but you probably get a different make, and they look something like this. And the colours I would use would be yellow, white, and probably, if I can point to it, that brown, well, the brown that's next to the orange. That brown there. And I use my craft knife and I scrape away at it until it lands in the palette like this. And I sometimes put a few colours, have a little bit of go and a bit of practice. And this has got a little bit of, it's got brown, a little bit of white, and a little bit of yellow in it. That's what I'm using today. And I practice on lots of different little biscuits to see, or cookies, to see what they look like, because I want to make sure that they look okay. That one looks okay, actually. Let's get out of the way. I did the underneath on that one and it was a bit of a mess. See, this is it. I've jumped in, I've had a go with a few different colours, and I've thought, no, I've messed that up now. But it really doesn't matter. These things are so tiny. It doesn't matter if you mess them up. So you can have a few, and if you don't like them, you can screw them back up and scrunch them together. Oh, by the way, I hope you remember at the beginning, when you get your clay, you have to condition your clay by just smooshing it up and making sure that it's all warm and the plasticizers are all moving. I should have said that. You need to do that before you start making your little sausage. Okay, so now we have these, we can start colouring them, and I'm going to use this mixture that I made here. This one, I think. Just going to tap that off because I don't want to go mad with it, and I'm just going to lightly go around, and I'm probably, because things get baked more kind of on the edges, don't they, probably concentrate a little bit on the edges or on one side. I think that makes a nice effect. These aren't the greatest shape for cookies, but but you just have a go, you know. And if you don't like it, as I say, I don't worry if it's got a bit of this sort of pastels on. I just use the clay again. It just gives it a colour. So I've done that. Let's have a look at them. I would just leave them all on the tile if I was doing this myself. And you can see it just gives them a little bit of a more of a cooked look. Let's just put a bit of extra on there. Oh, I have to work on the tile. I literally drop everything. It makes me worry, actually. I went to the eye hospital this morning. I've got to have a treatment on my eye too. Oof. Don't get old, folks. So, there we go. That looks a bit more tasty now. And I would do that for all of my cookies. And here's some I made earlier. I love it when people say that. Now that we've got our cookies together, we need them to have some chocolate chips. And what I use for the chocolate chips is a thin paintbrush, which I've just put in my mouth. I've just licked it. And some acrylic paint, and this one is in burnt sienna. And I can't drop that, it's big. And then you want to put a little bit of this out, and I'm not really going to add water to it. I just wet the brush a tiny bit, but not really going to add water to it because I want it to be kind of chunky. It looks like chocolate. It's so cool. Look, it actually looks like chocolate. And I'm just going to refocus, get this on my brush, and then try to make chocolate chips. Always look at source material, look at videos, look at pictures on Instagram or on Google, look at real cookies. You know what I mean? Do a bit of research before you start doing this. And then your chocolate chips, I think they want to be a bit messy and a bit random. Now I can't for the life of me do random. Absolutely useless. So they always end up looking like a clock when I've made them. But, well, not always, but I have to be able to reject. Look how much like a clock that looks now. So just paint them on like that. And don't make yours to look like a clock. Why is that so... Oh, my Lord. I'm going to do another one. Let's see if I can do it properly. Bum. Random, Val, random. Okay, that's random. Hello. They're all exactly the same space apart. That's a bit better, but it's still... Oh. Anyway, so once you've achieved that random look that I can't do, then you can put your cookie in the oven, and that'll be fine. That'll that'll come up nice. Look at that, look, it works. It sort of works, except in that I don't know how to make things random. And the light in here keeps changing. Apart from that, it's perfect. And now you need to bake them. Once I get to this stage, if I've painted the chocolate chips on everything, if I wanted to do the bottoms, I'd put them on paper. If I don't, because it's just going to be like this, I would leave them straight on the tile. You don't have to have a tile this big. And then I would use this setup to do it. I'm going to try and show you now, hang on. To bake my creations, I use an oven thermometer, I use the instructions from the packet, and I put my tile into the baking tray, and I put a piece of foil over the top. Once they're done, they're done. Use preheat the oven, take them out. They will look more put together than they did previously. Because something about baking them does help them to look more put together, but it doesn't change the colour or anything. That has to be you, not unless you do it wrong. And then you will end up with some chocolate chip cookies like these. Anything that I haven't said or that you're confused about, and I wouldn't blame you if you were, ask me in the comments down below. And I hope I've sort of taught you how to do that. I hope so. Yeah. Vlogmas, it's killing me, but it's day 18, right? So I'm surviving. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends. I love you all. Bye-bye.